When you're building a book, you can take somebody from point A and maybe get them to point C, but don't expect to get them to point F. If you try to accomplish too much too soon, it's going to flop. It's not going to resonate. You have to give those quick wins, and then they'll want the next, and then the next, and they'll be ready for the next and the next. I think this definitely translates for speakers. Obviously, if you are a speaker, you care about people, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't care about imparting your knowledge and your strategies. So you're heart-centered, and that's a blessing and a curse, because you know you've got the solution. You just want to, in 45 minutes or a half hour, get those solutions out to the people. Right. And like you said, we can only handle so many new concepts at a time. We need to help us understand it on a cellular level so that we can actually act on it. I was in publishing before, kind of right out of college. And one of my mentors in that space was brilliant. And I've never forgotten this. And it's taken me a long way. And she said, when you're building a book, you can take somebody from point A and maybe get them to point C, but don't expect to get them to point F, right? Or G or whatever down the road. If you try to accomplish too much too soon, it's going to flop. It's not going to resonate. You have to give those quick wins, and then they'll want the next, and then the next, and they'll be ready for the next and the next. I think this definitely translates for speakers. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like, how much should you try to accomplish in a short span of time?
This is something that I believe, based on my conversations with speakers, that most of us struggle with. Especially if you've been around for a while, then you have so many stories. I stopped counting after 60 stories that I'm sharing on stages, so probably more than that, but not on every speech though. But there's so many things going on there, so many facts and figures, and then some of them I just forgot, and then I realized, oh, that was a great story. Why am I not sharing that anymore? So, but I have some favorite stories, some signature stories. This is something that you probably should do if you're an emergent speaker, thinking about your signature stories. What is it that you should really focus on getting right to the last comma sign and so on? What I do many times is that I just see, if I have, let's say I have 30 minutes. Now, I want to include those 3 stories because they are really great as learning as lessons as well, lessons learned based on those. If it's only a story without the lessons learned, that's just entertainment. I want to make sure that it means something as well. And I know that will take some time. And then I have some of the things I wanted to get across that will take some time. And I just start to calculate. If I do a script, if it's a short one, then I can just take that script and divide it by 120. Now I know how many words per minute I speak, and now I know how long it will take. And I will actually go down to 100 now. So I will even slower, to make sure that I really cover the things in time, because I always deviate something based on what's happening on the stage. So yes, it is a challenge for all of us. I don't know if that answered your question, but it is about trying to figure out what is the core message you want to get across for this audience today, and then focus on that. And I'm saying it knowing that I also want to add 1 or 2 or 3 more things that probably I could have been without. But it's just my urge of giving them as much as I can. It's like I have this CEO and sales director on one side of my brain, and then I have the artist and the performer on the other side. And the artist and the performer just want to give them everything, while the CEO and the sales director says, stop, you have like 3 more speeches you can give them if you want to. Because if they like this, they will also like the next part and the next part. So yeah, it's a constant battle in my own mind of what to do and what not to do. But I'm getting better at focusing on the core content and then giving examples of that one instead.
And I have found when you give less, there are implementable wins that make that audience and thus the organizer want to bring you back for the next win, right? And it's not because you're holding back, it's because you're making sure they get that first couple of steps so that they're ready.
Yes. And you can instead use some of the time to give examples of and asking more questions like, what if? What if you do this? What if you don't? Imagine when? What happens then? And so on.